tutorial we are going to take a quick look at the type tool. For those of you that have used Paint or pretty much any other text editor, it's pretty self-explanatory, but we'll go ahead and show you how to use it. First of all, let's see how to do a single line of text. When I say single line, that means that there will never be a line break unless you hit return on your keyboard. So let's see how this works. To access our text tool, let's select the T over here in our toolbar. If you hit the letter T on your keyboard at any time, you can access your text tool, which is an awesome quick key function. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and do a single click on my document. And I'm going to type some text. This is some text. Now, the fact that I did a single line, and that means no line breaks, watch what happens when I continue to type. It continues to do everything in one line until, let me go ahead and do that, until I hit return, and the text will then go to the next line. But until I hit return, it'll never break. But let's say I don't want to go through and decide where all my line breaks are. What if I need my text to be constrained to a specific box? We can do a text box, and it's very easily done. Let me go ahead and delete this. Let's get our text tool. And what we're going to do is we're going to click and drag. And I now have a text box. Now look what happens when I put some text in. Illustrator automatically finds where my line breaks are and puts those line breaks in for me. So that can be helpful if you're doing some packaging or other such projects where you need the line breaks to be in a specific space, or you need your text to be contained in a specific box. So very helpful. Now let's look into editing our text. We need to change our font and font sizes and other such things. There's a couple places to do it, and I'll make mention of it here, but I'll show you in more detail when we get to the character palette and other such tools. But up along the top of the Illustrator interface is, when you have the text tool selected, is your toolbar to change the settings for that particular tool. So for example, I can select my text, come here. If I click on the character right next to it, it'll show me the character palette. From here I can change the font. Let's do Tahoma bold. It's now changed. I can come over here. I could change it to regular if I wanted. I could change the font size. I can change the justification. And so that's just some simple editings up front. I'll get more into the character palette as well as the paragraph palette a little bit later on, but that's a basic idea of the type tool. Now one last thing I want to mention. Let's say that you have done your text box and you needed to edit the size of it. Let's say it was too small or too big. How do we do that? This is very easily done. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get my selection tool. You can hit the letter V or come over to the left hand side of your palette, and you can see these anchor points here that show where our text box is. Watch what happens when I begin to drag these. Now I have changed the size of that text box. So that is something that you may come across a little bit later, and you don't want to have to get the exact size of your text box the first try. So play around with that, fiddle around with the type tool, get familiar with it. It's something you'll use constantly. It's one of the most common tools within Illustrator.